Hey, y'all, and a happy Easter to each and every one of you all. Yeah. What's up, real deal? How's everybody doing today? And the birthday's in the house. Happy birthday to you. I'm gonna give y'all time up to get in here. But on your way in here, please smash that like button, y'all. I want to get back into, you know what story, a lot of y'all know how I am. I just love entertainment. But Lori Vallow is something I want to know how she went from here to here. And the only thing I can think of is the choices that she made, and other choices and decisions that she made that came about to her reposition of taking the action for her own situation. That's the way I see it. So we're gonna talk about her best friend. Everybody have a best friend. Everyone has a best friend. And so that's what we're gonna talk about, okay? Lori Vallow is something didn't go right with her. And the decision that she made didn't work out. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna watch the interview, okay? I want to share the interview of her best friend talking about her own friend, okay? And that's how we usually do. But what the best friend is going to do is tell how she met. She's gonna tell how she met Lori. Okay, so here we go. Let me make sure the music's down a little so y'all can hear. Y'all know I'm gonna play that, girl. Okay, here we go. Let's watch this video, y'all. This is Lori Vallow's best friend. Now I don't know if she's gonna tell the truth about her. I don't know, but I'm looking at her actions on her period. I'm a very observant person, and I can tell you now, this about to be a roller coaster ride with Melody. So here's the interview. This is her best friend.
How I got involved with her. Jason Mouth's the one that introduced me to her. He met her in the temple and said, "Hey, there's like-minded people that are spiritual, da da da. Here's Melly's information." So she meets me and she hears me talking a little bit because I'm doing something for a stake event. It was really normal and good, and had to do with like natural preparedness kind of things. Something that we all can learn and enjoy. Anyway, afterwards, she's in the back with Melanie. And then I came out, and then she came out, and Melanie was still in there because there was classes going on. And she was just so excited to meet me, and she was like, she's talking about people she knew like Mike Stroud, or not knew, but knew of from podcasts, and Julie Rowe, and her change of heart. And I said, well, I've been changed from Christ, and my experience is a normal experience that somebody would have, but she was like new. And I thought, great, she's marrying me because I didn't know that then. I didn't know her, so I had to know by knowing. But anyway, she was like, oh, I've been changed by Christ. And I said, well, I have too. And it was in a more significant way than maybe what I experienced at church. It was a beautiful experience that I had. And so, but there was nothing odd about it. It was just beautiful. And so she said that she had the same, and she was super excited. And then she said, well, I said, you must have been through a really, a lot of challenges in your life to be able to have these experiences. She goes, well, she says, I've had some special experiences with the Lord in the temple. And she might have said Rome at the time too. She might have. I can't remember if that was the next time I saw her or not. And I was like, wow, what have you been through? And she's like, well, my kid was raped by her father, and oh, that probably is a lie. But anyway, she was bringing a story about all her trials, and they sounded genuine to me. I did not think she would. I don't think people are manipulating. That's one of my weaknesses. I don't manipulate. I don't know how to. So I was so foreign to it that I was like, oh, she can't be lying to me. She sounds just like me. As far as my testimony of Christ. Now, not all the crazy stuff, but just that normal kind of sisterly bond that you would have with somebody in church. So then she tells me, well, because we had listened to my extra, and he talked about 144,000 and about how people are going to be called to help be instruments in God's hands of bringing people together, like the lost tribes and different things in the last days. And so she says, well, I've had these experiences, and I know that I'm part of the 144,000. The Lord sealed me his in the temple kind of thing. And I didn't necessarily disbelieve it. It wasn't a new thought for me because I had listened to different podcasters talk about some of their experiences, and I didn't think that they were lying either because they sounded like it matched Mormon doctrine. All of it did. Because I've read the scriptures a lot, and I thought, well, I know about these things, but somebody's actually having them. And so, but people can have real experiences, but somebody can take that and act like that as their own.
Sure.
And I think that's what she did. She took some information that could or couldn't have been true. I don't know if the guy had it or if he was deceived. I don't know that personally. But anyway, she learned a lot about, and Julie Rowe, they talked about casting out. They talked about when evil spirits put your arm to the square, you cast out, you use, and then talked about love.
People, pay attention to her body language. Just pay attention to her body language.
Love is your most powerful weapon. And different weapons. He would say different weapons. I don't know if he described them, but he just talked about love as the most powerful weapon we can use against the adversary. So I don't know, maybe she took that, and then she took Julie Rowe's freaked out stuff, and she's whacked. But she was heavily into the energy work, and a lot of these things were like coming through all these weapons and different things and evil spirits around you. So I remember one time she told me when she was in Hawaii, before I ever met her, this was when she was living there, she recalled a moment. She goes, I remember, Melanie, I woke up, an angel woke me up and said, you need to email Julie Rowe and tell her that she's a true servant. And I was thinking, wow, maybe Julie, because I didn't think Lord was lying to me. I thought she was really enlightened. And anyway, she believed in this. And anyway, she said she finally figured, she said, I can't even email, or I don't do Facebook. She's like, I just finally read the back of the book, had the email on it, and just said, you are a servant, and that's it. And she just said, Lori, and that's all she said. She said, off and went back to bed. So I was thinking, wow, okay. And so, so when her and I met that day, she's like, I know that Moroni, she must have told me about Moroni, or he was the Savior. I know that he's called me to be part of that 144,000 to help other women. I'm to gather other women, something like that, and help them be part of the gathering kind of thing. Okay. So her and I go to the temple. We go to the Phoenix Temple because I remember the Gilbert Temple was closed. So we're going in there. This is, if you're LDS, you're going to be surprised by this. This is where the deception really began. I go into the temple, and I'm going to the dressing room, getting our white clothes on, and she is in the dressing stall. And I come out and I stand behind. They have an arch window in the Phoenix Temple, right in the women's room. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I get this like heat all over my head. And I'm like, what's that? So I said, Lori. She comes out. I said, feel my head. And she goes, oh, it's happening. And I was like, yeah, it's really hot on top of it. I didn't have a fever. Nowhere else on my body was hot. And it wasn't because the sun was coming through. It was really like this heat. It lasted for, I don't know, like a minute or two. Mm-hmm. And she's like, wow, it's happening. I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty awesome. I'm thinking that's good. And so anyway, we go into a couple of different rooms. I don't want to share too much because it's a temple. Right. But anyway, she thinks that she has the power to ordain me at that point to be part of this 144,000. And so she says a little prayer. That's her thing, her little prayers. And
did she say she got the keys to ordain you?
Yeah, from the Lord himself and from Moroni. Herself in the temple, in the initiatories, in a certain location in the initiatories. And the interesting thing, I told this to Rob, the same place that Sulema said she saw the Lord was the same place he said. And I said, how did that happen where she said the same place? And he goes, well, Melanie, people can have some psychological order. I don't know what we call it. So some of the psychological word that she had this experience, and I was like, well, I never had anything like that. So I don't have the experience they do because I don't have visionary experiences. That's not me, but that's not my gift. So I just assumed that because they had them, they knew more than me. Well, if they can see that, I can't see it. Maybe I don't doubt that people can have gifts like that. I'm very much a believer in that. So that was a bit on the odd side. That happened to me in the temple. And I've asked other people that work in the temple and different things. They said, well, they can bring Satan in with them. I'm like, oh, yeah, they can.
Mm-hmm.
So that was sad. So that's where my confidence came from with her, because I'm in the temple of my God. That happens to me.
Sure.
So I had to, you can imagine after all this happened, I had to read back and go think, and it's like, all those things you thought were revelation, get rid of them. Don't even remember. Don't go back to try to figure out, Heavenly Father, what happened here? God, I was on your team. And I cried to the Lord. I said, I cheated on you. I broke my heart because I was that absolutely gobsmacked by it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with these castings, and the first one you're involved in was at someone's house, and
I can't remember if they did it that night or the next day, or I don't remember, but it was.
was it still someone's house?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, pretty sure.
And that was that just for Charles?
Oh, absolutely, because that's the only person they knew had that issue at the time, according to their pretend revelation. They call it pretend because who knows what they're listening to.
Describe to me how
How they did
how
it?
they did it.
Okay, so they were trying to figure out first how to do it, and so they were all coming up with different ideas, and I wasn't familiar with their vernacular. They would say things like, you know, like Melanie would coin the phrase, probably like some kind of malachite or something. I don't know, like malachite's a gem. So they thought that gem had power. You know, like in the chakra world, people get into stones and stuff like that. They kind of brought that into that. So they thought that had the power. And then
Those malachite rings or the malachite stone.
well, she eventually got that, yeah, but that was yeah, like the malachite stone. And then I remember Serena having a moment where she was like, we just need to ask, I don't know if it's a question. I remember it triggered something like, we need to ask permission or something. Anyway, sorry, it's been too long. And it was weird that something happened that night that was strange. Sulema and Serena, it's almost like they got attacked by an evil spirit. Like all of a sudden, Sulema's sitting there talking and all of a sudden she can't breathe. Like she's like, I'm having a hard time. I'm like, what is that about? You know, and then Serena, it seemed like something happened to her where something happened to her. And Nicole, or maybe it was Nicole. I know Nicole had something with, Nicole's a sweet, gentle soul. If you ever met her. And she just all of a sudden got really depressed and really heavy and quiet. So anyway, they were obviously opening darkness because of that. Anyway. So they would say, well, anytime darkness comes after you, it's because you're doing the right thing. So it's an oppositional idea, right? And so anyway, they would just basically, she would raise her arm to the square, Lori would, and then she would say through her priesthood power, which she believed she had the patriarchal power, which was higher than the Melchizedek power, okay? Sorry if this is confusing. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm following.
So it seemed like what Lori allegedly was the kind of person that has gotten into power. She don't got into some kind of what seemed like when they allegedly when substances steps in, they start hallucinating and thinking they are this and that. And so what they were doing in front of Melody, we're trying to pull Melody over into what they're doing allegedly. Or what they was into, you know what I mean? Because see, she's smiling and they not smiling, so she just need to tell her story.
He's following me.
And Chad would help groom her into these beliefs and ideas. He would help her believe more and more, like, you're the most powerful woman in the world, right? And so
Manipulate.
So anyway, they would just, each one of them had like a little something to say, like how they could help in a loving manner. It wasn't like an evil or a dark, like a yucky kind of a voice. It was, or I'm mad at you kind of a voice. It was like, come to the light, or, you know, something like that. And so the only part I pitched in was my testimony of Jesus Christ. I didn't have anything else to offer than that because I was like, well, Jesus did this, and look at what's his name, and look at Paul the apostle, and and I was just trying to share my little part because I was like, all these people, I don't know. And so anyway, that's just how she did it. And so she would, and I think she kind of did it more on her own as she got more closer to Chad, and everybody's kind of started leaving the group, like Nicole and what's her name, Christina were out,
Mm-hmm.
and then Serena was out early. Thank goodness on their part they were out early. And it's only because Lori was getting jealous, or how the jealousy can get in, and she was worried because Serena called Chad too much, and then Chad was like, well, she has more intentions than this, and then they cut her out of the group, just stupid stuff like
So
that.
you think that they kept Serena out of the group because Lori was jealous?
Well, I think he would say, this is how it started. He'd say, no, she keeps calling me. Serena keeps calling me, asking more and more questions, and then he would tell that to Lori. And Lori would talk to him about that and say, oh, she wants to learn more power. And she's actually now getting dark because she's getting like Julie Rowe or something something stupid like that. And then so pretty soon they deemed her more power. And she just didn't.
See, it seemed like they was into that dark power stuff. You know what I mean? That what y'all call it? Seemed like they got into all of that spiritual stuff. I forgot what y'all call it. I think it.
They just cut her off. Basically, means I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. So she went out of the country and came back. She got sick, and like, what happened? The evil spirit touched me when I was there. And Serena had a hard time swallowing all this. After I came to her and said, these people are bad. She's like, you mean they lied about that? And I'm like, Serena. And I had told her the whole story, everything that they killed the kids, and I really felt they did. And she was like, and we went to the temple, and she's like, Mom, did they lie about this? I'm like, Serena, the whole thing is a lie. And she was so convinced. She was so convinced. And she's a very intelligent woman. She's a very beautiful and amazing woman. But she was just sucked into it. Mm. And so, and it had a lot to do with the preparation work, had a lot to do with learning things outside of Chad and Lori before we even got together, like, the podcast people. And that prepared Lori to meet Chad. I remember hearing that recording about her sister saying something like to Rob in that little room that they got in trouble, obviously didn't get in trouble, but tried to get in trouble with the defendants. And she was saying, I think that her podcast, she named who the podcast people were, but I choose not to use the names of people on the internet openly. But she said, I believe she learned those teachings from this podcaster. And then when she met Chad, and it was easy. Oh yeah, I'm already prepared for that. So that first day that they met, she was already prepared for Chad because of these podcasts that she'd been listening to, which actually kind of got, went from Chad to this, Julie. So they kind of were connected a lot more ahead. They worked together quite a bit, and that's where he learned a lot of his energy work from. I believe that's because I don't know that he knew about it until Julie Rowe, because Julie Rowe's the one that brought this whole emotion code and energy work and all that. She's the one that really opened that up, and then he switched from being with that one lady, Suzanne Freeman, and then he dumped her. I call it dump because he just kind of moved from one person to the other. And they went to Julie Rowe, and then he dumped Julie Rowe, and then he went to Lori. So he kind of kept doing this. Probably for money, he's really into his books, so he wanted to make money, and I've learned that he made a lot of money off Julie books. I recently learned that, but from a good source. But so this is what the castings really were about, is to invite the spirits to leave, or with their so-called power or their, things that they would bring. I never thought this was like a huge deal. I talked a little bit about it before. I always said she was like, we did a prayer, she did prayers to help cast or something. I don't know how I said it, but to me, it has no effect. It was no power in what she did, so it had nothing to do with anything because it was all by Satan. Now, when Julie Clement got involved, I remember one night we were at Lori's, the last house she was in before Charles died. I think he was still alive. And I remember they were doing a prayer, And Julie, Clement, and Selena with their, I don't know, energy, they both do energy work. They're saying, she's like, I saw this dragon, something like this. And I know Selena said she saw that later, and I didn't see anything. So that's just what they imagined in their, I don't know, this, some evil spirit trick.
Now it's mighty strange that this is Lori's best friend, and she know what causing allegedly Lori being the way she is, because she keeps saying spiritual stuff. Like she already knew what Lori was doing, but she trying to act like she didn't. That's why it wasn't bothering her, because she knew it was a allegedly lie.
Something.
How many castings do you think that you involved in?
Gosh, I don't know. I'd have to make a guess because I wouldn't know.
What would you guess?
Maybe 10? Maybe. I'm not sure. And they were just for chat, I think most of them were on Charles, and not the kids. And Tammy, I mean, I know they probably did. I don't know what they did with the kids. I don't have any idea on that part. They probably, I'm not sure on Tammy. Maybe.
Let me ask you about Tammy then.
Yeah.
Was Chad there? Or was it just Lori?
Well, they did. There was one. I can't remember who it was though. Sometimes these things, I don't remember all of it because sometimes I was often detached from a lot of it because I was involved in my own personal life. So I necessarily not was,
And I know I'm asking a lot for try to reach back and grab.
Yeah. So we were in a circle and we we're holding hands, and Charles had passed away, so it had to have been somebody else because Charles was dead. And Sulema, she started talking about that. She was into, moving the earth and the earthquakes and all that. You probably know that. She thought she had the power to do that. And I remember Chad and Lori said something, and I don't know if anybody else said anything. So who was it?
So Chad was there.
Oh, yeah.
Lori was there.
Yep. And I think Melanie and Alex.
That's how she was Melody.
David doesn't remember any of it. You can ask him. He's blocked it.
Oh, that's Melanie.
Blocked. He can't remember it.
And this was after Charles died.
This was right after he died when we had that little meeting. Remember how I said we got?
Wow. So after Charles died, after they did something to Charles, then they have a meeting? Wow.
Together one time, Charles's house.
So that would be like
July.
probably.
Yeah. But he died July
11th.
11th. Something. I always try to remember 7/11. Okay. So yeah. Yeah.
You recall how soon after that was?
Weeks.
Weeks.
Within weeks.
You think it's still in July?
David hadn't been in town. That's the only way I can track it.
But this casting was for what reason?
Yeah.
To continue to help the spirits that are in the bodies to talk them out of leaving their bodies.
Okay. What bodies?
I think it could have been Tammy. It might have
Wow. I see what they are doing. They are trying to catch spells. I don't believe in this stuff, but they got rid of Charles. So what they are doing is trying to use their acting like the spiritual work they are performing to get rid of the people they need to get rid of to be together. That's what Chad and Lori is doing. So now they trying to get the spirit. They trying to take this allegedly using their spiritual convention. Well, I don't know what to say to get to Tammy now. See, that's Chad's wife. Oh wow, wow.
Brandon, maybe. That's the only two I could think of. That would be the only two I could think of because if they said anything about that, I have no memory of that. So no memory. And definitely, well, because not JJ, definitely, because JJ wasn't deemed a zombie until, September, right? So they would definitely not have known about JJ. So probably Tammy and Brandon, because they said Brandon was definitely at this high
Well,
level, dark.
I don't want you, I appreciate you saying it was probably
Yeah.
either one of these two or maybe both, but
Yeah.
I need you to remember who was trying to be casted. If it was both, fine, but if it was just one.
I know it's.
She know.
Think about it.
I can't even remember what Chad Lori said.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I remember she always used her priesthood power, and then she was like, "Go ahead, take it over, Zulema." I remember that.
All right. So, were you?
Because Zulema remembers. Yes.
Some things.
Okay.
She know.
Refresh my memory when you were up there in Idaho.
September.
You dated in September. Was there a casting done at Laura's house?
Not that I can recall. I've tried to remember. Like, not that I recall.
Or did you have how about a prayer? Where do you guys have just have a prayer?
Well, normal prayers like on a flute or something,
Right.
possibly like that. I don't recall. I mean, I could say maybe, but I don't remember.
So as far as the castings, none of them took place in Idaho that you were present at.
Not that I can recall.
Okay.
I'm doing my best to
I know,
remember,
I know.
but it's horrifying to think about it. But I don't know.
Okay. So the ones you may have been involved in were the ones here in Arizona, and that would have been at Lori's house,
Yeah.
Zelina's house.
Mm-hmm.
Where else?
I remember when she was in Charles's house, in the one in Houston, or was it Houston or no, the other city? I always forget what city it was. Remember she lived in Florida
Texas?
and Texas. Remember that? I remember she was. I can't remember if I was. It seemed like she was on the phone with Chad. I remember her talking about Charles because he was in the house. She was really. That's right. She was really into. She was really into Charles. She kept saying, "Oh, he's getting broken down. He's getting broken down. He's getting weaker. He's getting weaker."
Wow.
We're doing things to help, get him weaker, get his, spirit out of his body, kind of a thing. They were like working on him. I remember that a lot.
So let me ask you this: were there any castings that you weren't present? You were just on the phone with them?
So there was in the beginning. There was a phone call. That's right. Good. Thank you for reminding me. Serena, Zulema. At one point, Melanie joined in, and Nicole, Melanie Boudreau. Oh, wait. Sorry, I remember one. Let me just stick to that one right now. I'm sorry.
That's right.
All over the place. This is not enjoyable for me.
It's all right.
This sucks. Anyway.
We'll get through it.
So yes, there was this phone thing because she was doing it through Zoom. It was a Zoom thing. And so they were like everybody had their own little parts. Like, so, like I just said, like, my bad, Jesus, right? But there's one was over fire elements or something, wind, or I don't know, just they came up with some funky words. And not that they were horrible words, they were just not usual, putting them together in a sentence kind of thing. I don't describe it right. It's very unusual. So yeah, they did that a few times on phone. And then she just kind of got tired of it. And she was like, "Oh, this person talks too much." She'd get irritated with people. Like, I think she was always jealous. Anyway, so yeah, that was on the phone, and I don't know how many times, but I'd say a handful, maybe. Well, maybe.
You her best friend.
I tried it maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe. I don't know. And then one time, okay, so the house she moved in the first time, Alex's house, right after she left Charles the first time.
Mm-hmm.
She went to Alex's house for a while. She had Serena on the phone, and Melanie was new to it, and she really didn't know what was going on. So it was the first time Melanie was exposed to it. And I remember we were holding hands, and I remember she said, "My hands got really hot, and then they got really cold." I was like, not my experience, right? And then Serena kind of related to that. They were talking on the phone. And that was the night she came up with this idea, this map thing of zombies in the world. Arizona, Utah, Idaho, and then she's like, okay, Chad says, and she'd be all of them. How many zombies in this state?
She called him by name, Chad.
I knew she was talking to him.
How'd you know he was talking to him?
Well, I just did. I just did. I just did. I don't know. I knew it.
By name?
I'm sure she did, but
Okay.
I just know she was talking to her. Who else was she going to get this information from? No, she was into him. She was into him. Way into Chad. She was infatuated with him. Big time. There was nobody else she could have talked to about it. Nobody else could have given that information. Nobody. I guarantee it was nobody else. I just know it was him. Who else is she going to call? She doesn't know anybody that talks like Chad. She didn't know anybody. She wasn't friends with these podcasters. She didn't even know Julie Rowe. She never met her. So. Anyway, so, and I could have maybe possibly heard his voice if she had a speaker sometime. I'm sure that happened at times. So I knew it was them talking. And she was on the phone a lot, in the car a lot. She was talking to him, and I just knew she was talking to him. And so, anyway, he would say, okay, there's, I don't know, grab a number, 100 in this state, something in this state, and then throughout the whole world. And so you got this, these people, or these entities are in other people's bodies. So her idea was, it was for her to get rid of the zombies. The idea was for her thought she had the power to cast it out, she'd say in the name of whatever and with her power. And then he would check. Oh, there's none left in the state, So anyway, that's how she is. So anyway, I remember that.
Okay, my thing is about the best friend is, your friend dealing with this power stuff, black power and all that kind of power, spiritual stuff. Why are you hanging with her? It's a lot of things that how can she remember all of this, but she couldn't remember the important things that the detective asks her. You know what I mean? This string people say, I don't remember that, but no, I don't remember that, but she remember all this other stuff. She remembered.
Conversation was kind of going on that night. And then, I don't know the heck they were talking about that night. It was, I don't know who, I'm sure it was Charles. And I think it was probably for the world too. It probably was. And anyway, everybody was just holding hands. And anyway, they all said their little, whatever they could come up with, they think of that would help encourage this spirit to leave or encourage them. And it wasn't done it didn't seem like it was done out of any unkindness or anything like that.
Wow.
It was just a matter of, like, if you were to invite somebody to leave. I think they started using different weapons that had light in them to help that encourage that spirit to come out of the body by those words. But it had no power. So I haven't worried about it since I left Lori. I was like, she didn't have any power. She can't hurt me. I'm not worried about her. So obviously I didn't believe in it to the level of worrying about my life, right? So that's kind of it. I mean, is there something you're kind of looking at that might help you more?
Well, I really want to just dive into these.
Yeah, to kind of understand them.
Yeah. My understanding, and we may get a little bit on this in our first interview, but my understanding is that the spirits, in order for the spirit to be taken out of the body, it has to be cast out. However, if that body is a spirit in that body is a certain darkness, just cast it out doesn't prevent it
From coming back out.
from coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and there's certain ways that body can be destroyed.
Body or spirit?
Or spirit.
I don't know if it can be destroyed.
The spirit.
I don't know if they can be destroyed. I don't know if fathers
You never.
spirits.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not saying they believe that. I'm just saying you and I personally, I don't think they can be destroyed.
When we talk about this, I'm trying to.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
trying to dive into their world.
Okay, their world. Sorry, because you're
Right.
sharing personal. So okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that they thought they could destroy them either, though. They were just trying to get them to the point where, I don't know,
If I
maybe
had
they
a
wanted one.
dark spirit in a body.
Yeah.
I mean, a dark spirit.
Yeah.
And that that body, or excuse me, that spirit is cast out of that body. What enters that body next? Can it be a light spirit or can it be a dark spirit?
Oh, so that did occur with Charles, they said. So, okay, this was the first thing, is they were trying to cast out normal, like casting out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they said, oh, no, it's still in there. Chad would deem it's still in there. We can't get him out. They're breaking eternal law, right? This is what we're saying.
Okay.
They cast his personal spirit out and we put a new one in. So then they finally said, we got him out finally. Through our priesthood powers, we got him out. Now, and this was supposed to be more advanced darker spirit.
Okay, so if
According to me.
if the body keeps receiving dark spirit, in order, does that body have to be destroyed?
Oh no, see, they were learning. It was never figured out. This was Chad. They were along the way, is my opinion now. It's like, okay, that didn't work. What can I come up with? Keep going, right? Let's figure this thing come up. I don't know if he played all the way through, because nobody was so pushy about being with him. And I think he was so infatuated, which you and I both know he was with her. I think he was more creative in his darkness. And I think it just went on line by line by line. I don't think that's my feeling. I could be wrong. Maybe some people say, a writer, knows the end of it. I don't know.
All right, so let me ask you this thing. With these castings, we know that, I think we know, it was with Charles. They tried casting Charles. They at one point tried casting Brandon.
I think so. It feels familiar, let's just say that. Because they deemed him as really dark after, right about the time, probably either right after Charles died, because then they were trying to help Melanie, because now she would go hook her hooks into Melanie. She got totally taken out by Lori. And Brandon is all these things. And he's now, not only is he dark, he's actually, we found out more about him. So first he's this. Oh, wait, we discovered more about him. Now now we know he's actually a high level. He's like up there with Hitler kind of thing, right?
Wow. But look, y'all, listen.
He was one of the Hitler crowd.
Listen. See, allegedly, Melanie, this young lady right here, is involved in the spiritual work with Lori. She said she not, they listening to her, because if I'm listening to her, if I'm listening to her, they listening to her. She's saying we. So she just involved with that spiritual work as Lori. She know what's going on. She knows, because she involved. And when they was talking about Brandon, when he did his interview, he allegedly said he did something to Charles. So they trying to play this. Chad and Lori is playing a game with everybody in the circus, in their little circle, the Valo circus, Boom Days. Okay. Hold up, let me put it back right here. I'm sorry.
Where was that at?
That was at Suleiman's house.
And did you have a conversation at that time with Lori and Chad?
They weren't in the room. When was the last time I talked to them? Well, remember that was already coming down.
I thought you said that you talked, or you just got to talk to them or something.
No, I said we weren't talking to them, so we weren't in their conversation. Like, we were just talking, the three of us.
Oh, okay.
So I want to make that clear that they weren't under our influence. They weren't trying to influence us. I was trying to say we three got to talk without them in the room, which really...
Because they left?
No, but they were wherever they were.
Okay.
I don't know where they were.
And it wasn't that you hadn't been on earlier with any phone conversation or anything?
The only phone call that I've shared with everybody, which is the truth, is when I was coming down from Utah. Remember, it was the Thanksgiving time. And remember I said I did the three-way call, and I called them to say, hey, let's say a prayer. I'm worried about them. Sulema got on the phone call. She didn't really seem like she understood what was going on. Because I asked Lauren, like, does she know what's going on? She's like, oh, yeah. She lied. Anyway, so when I was listening to Sulema, I was like, she understands what's going on. I got that feeling. She's like, what is this about?
I just want to make sure that
So that was the last conversation I had with her.
Okay.
Was that conversation on the phone? I prayed when I had a prayer. I was worried about, they said the kids were being
With Lori.
kidnapped. Yeah. Well, actually, I was in the car with David, so he heard it because we had it on the speaker thing. And so anyway, so that was that conversation, and then it got busy for me. I was doing Thanksgiving, and then I went over to their house, and anyway, it was the last time I saw him, and he said, "I 100% believe in it, Melanie."
Now,
And so this is the thing, is I think because he 100% believed in it, he had to, because at this point he had probably killed the kids, is my guess. He probably did it. I don't know. I'm guessing. Maybe you guys are guessing too. But he 100% believed it. And she didn't 100% believe it. And then when I called her, when I realized, oh, holy cow, I called her. I tried to talk to her. She was not there yet.
What do you mean by that? She just.
I said to her, Sulema, and I don't remember the full conversation because I was on fire in my mind, like, holy cow, right? I'm freaking out. But what I do remember is I said, there's something seriously wrong here. I said, the gut of my stomach says something seriously wrong here. And she goes, that's just dark. I said, no, there's a difference between gut and dark. This is gut. And I said, do you have a testimony of Chad and Lori? Do you have testimony of that? What is your witness? And she goes, well, I have one of Chad. When he gave me a blessing, shortly after meeting him, I had more visions after that. And she goes, I'll get my witness about Lori. And I said, well, I don't believe I don't know what I described it. I just described it and I didn't believe who they were. And I said, I'm going to be going to the police. And I remember it seemed like I talked to her maybe twice, and probably a lot. So I said, I'm going to the police. And I said, is Alex on? Can Alex hear me? And she goes, it's on speaker. I said, take it off speaker. Now here's the murderers down the street. Remember, they lived close to me. Remember, Sulema lived around the corner from me. And I'm thinking, I just got myself in a situation. They could come after me, right? But I didn't. I had to do what I had to do. She was my friend. I wanted to warn her. And I just said, hey, I'm so anyway, the police I know circled her house, circled my house, making sure I was safe and making sure he probably didn't get in trouble, whatever. And so she texted me, didn't call me, texted me next day, I got my witness. Which means to me, Lori's in. Lori's good. That's what it meant to
Did
me.
she tell you how she got her witness?
No, that's one-liner. And I said, I'm not talking to her anymore. Cut her off. I just knew that I couldn't talk to her anymore.
You remember what day that you said that?
It was for the text that got saved, right? And then she told me she never wanted to have anything to do with me again.
Wow.
At that same time?
I know. No. It would be after he died. After Alex died. So she was still under the influence of Lori at that time in her life. So okay.
Mm-mm.
December 6th. I received my witness today.
On December 6th?
Yeah.
What is this?
So I got $2,000 picked up from Melanie's piano, and she was out of town, so she said, can you collect the money for me? So I had this $2,000 cash, and she said, Mel asked us to get it for her, or can we pick it up? What's easier for you? I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not home, and I'm not sure when I will be. I just text her as well. Maybe I can get it to her to PayPal. Just PayPal it to me. I can't right now because I don't have enough money in my account. Anyway, she goes, well, let me know, thanks. I get for a call. The bishop told me what happened. I was so surprised, so sad. This was after he died, so this was, I guess it was 2 days later, right? I'm so sorry, words cannot express how I feel. I'm extremely only surprised at your hypocrisy because of what you did. I didn't have to not only deal with my precious husband dying in my arms, but then when police were ransacking my house and traumatizing my entire family. You are not my friend. You are not to speak to me or anyone in my family ever again. I want you to pay the $2,000 you owe as soon as possible. But other than that, I don't care that I exist.
Money scam.
So you can understand why I haven't talked to her.
So
But I just told her.
is she just mad because you made the phone call to us? Is that why she's mad? Is she thinks that God's pointed towards Alex's direction?
I guess. She knew I was going to place.
That day was December 16th.
Yeah. So.
He ruled Miss Head.
And that's it. I didn't want to do PayPal because I hate using technology for that. So I made sure she wasn't around.
And you haven't talked to her since?
Have not talked to her, nor have I seen her. Wait, have I seen her? Yeah, I think I saw her a few times at the passing of the temple, and she wouldn't talk to me. So, and then the temple got closed shortly after. So, anyway, I haven't seen her since. Yes. So one of my friends, Kelly, she saw her at the temple after it happened, and she was like, "Oh, Kelly, my husband died. Can you see him? He's here with me." And she's like, "I don't see spirits." So
I'm sorry.
About how he was her husband. I mean, she was received so much. So sad. It was very sad.
Mm.
She did not know how evil he was. I mean, all that I've learned about him. It's like he was had a good past, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So she was her. I believe her energy work is the one that got her deceived, because she, she could communicate through the veil. I had no gift, so you know what I mean. It got her sucked into it. As far as her not letting that go and believing in it and stuff.
I'm curious, your opinion. Do you really think she can see through that?
I don't know if people make stuff up or not. Honestly, Ron, I don't know. I don't know if people imagine things. I really don't know. I do believe people can see things. I believe it's possible. But my feeling about them is I think they can conjure up ideas and thoughts. Like I would sit with Lori in the temple and we just hold hands because we just love each other. And she said, "Oh, Heavenly Father, Mother came to me right here, Melanie. You were talking to me." And I was like, I didn't think she was lying in the temple. I never thought she was making this stuff up. I was like, but on the eternal thing, I think that God wanted me to be a witness for all this. So, and that's a whole different discussion. But somebody needed to be a witness to all this craziness that would tell the truth. So there was a part of me that's very innocent because I don't think you're lying to me. I wouldn't make a very good police officer because I would think everybody was telling the truth that came in to see you. And then I learned more about my life, and I'm looking back at my former spouse. I'm going, oh, things I couldn't see before. And it's called deception or manipulation. I wasn't even aware of that. Like people do that. I didn't catch it because I don't know how to do it. I don't understand it. But when you experience it, it's painful.
I'm gonna get a little personal with you here, ask some personal questions, but I'm curious what your relationship with your previous husband. Was that relationship with your previous husband kind of in turmoil before Chad and Lori showed up on scene?
Oh, absolutely. We had challenges for the whole marriage.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a hard marriage.
Did Chad?
Did they encourage me?
Yeah.
Actually, they discouraged me.
Did they really?
Well, they were saying, "Oh, I see you." This is what he would say at first. "I see you and your family going to a mountain in camps, and I see your husband and your family with you." But he gets upset and he leaves the camp, and then he shortly dies after that. So then that was one thing he said, and then at one point they said he's not dark, but he has just dark spirits around him. Because I remember out of the blue, he's like, "Oh, I checked your husband, and he has attachments to him, so I just took the attachments off him." I didn't ask him to do that, nor did I even think that he had. Do you know what I mean? So that was right at the beginning, and so then I said, anyway, I had a hard day one day with Brendan, and I told him once, like right about the time I met Lori, I remember standing with my husband, and I said to him, "If you don't stop talking to me this way, I can't do it anymore." you're going to have to make some changes. I mentally, I can't talk. I can't handle the way he talked to me anymore. I can't do it. I remember he has this scratching thing. He just started scratching his arm with his eczema. And I was, and then we had a discussion once, and I said, you see how you're talking to me? I said, that's the Do you understand that? He goes, that is? And I go, yeah, it is. I'm just trying to figure it out. He always had his reasons. And then, anyway, so I went out for a walk one day, and I just said, do I have to stay in this marriage, Heavenly Father? I can't do this anymore. It hurts my mind at this point. And I felt this peace come over me. And I was like, huh, are you kidding me? So anyway, I told Brennan, I fasted the whole day. I was like, I feel peace and I feel happy. I am so done. I was in so much pain. That's the reason why I came to know the Lord, is because of how hard that relationship was. And I spent a lot of time repenting on just any kind of unkindness that I showed. I mean, I spent a lifetime doing that. So anyway, I said to her, hey, I just want to let you know that I'm divorcing Brendan or something like that. And she's like, I can't remember what she said. But I remember one time going to the temple, I said, this is just not
You gonna remember
well.
everything else,
Maybe
but
you
what
should
she
go back to her.
says.
And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of sensing that too. Everything's just hard, like he's getting upset, and then the kids are, so she was actually, believe it or not, she encouraged me to go back with him. And then I got to a point where I was like, I got to do what I need to do. And actually, this is interesting. I told Brendan the whole story after I talked to all of you guys before I hit the media. I wanted him to know face to face. I said, I want to tell you what happened, because he's the father of my children. He needs to know these things. And I told him about child Lauren, the whole thing, and he was just like, oh my gosh, he was shocked. He goes, well, probably a good thing you divorced me, because they probably would have tried to come after me like they came after Brandon. And I said, who knows? And I thought, wow, that was the statement of the year.
I'm going to ask a question, and I do so with a little bit of reserve because I don't want to sound too. It's going to be a weird question.
Okay.
But it is what it is.
You can.
Do you ever feel like with Chad, or was there a point in time that Chad was wanting to bring you into any type of relationship?
I never felt that from him. He did contact me, but I never felt that, the thing that him and Lori did. I never felt that kind of a romantic, no. But one time he contacted me, and I'm sure I shared this briefly, 6 months before I met Lori. He texted me on Messenger and says, hey, Melanie, I just finished my last book, and I'm going to be in Arizona. Do you think you can help me with a get-together? I said, sure, I'd love to. And then I contacted Jason Mao, and I said, hey, well, Chad's coming to town. Why don't you guys both do a duo together? And so they both were like, he's like, sure, that's fine. And so then I got the word out, like, hey, they're both coming to town. So anyway, when I picked him up, I'm so proud I did this. When I picked him up from the airport, I had somebody in the car with me. Glad, because who knows? I don't think he would have said anything about these multiple lines. He hadn't told me about that, so I didn't know anything about it. But I had, her name is Janelle Littlebear. She was with me, and her daughter was with me. So anyway, we went to the place that he was going to speak, and then we had a lot of craziness going on with the air conditioning. But anyway, and then I said to him after, it was all over, I said, do you mind giving me a priesthood blessing? I can really use one right now, And I looked up to him at the time. I thought he was this great visionary. And which I don't even think he's a visionary by the record now. Now, maybe I said it earlier on, but now
At least
I learned ponder, I'm like, I think he made it all up. Anyway, so he gave me it was just a nice little blessing. Anyway, but he never, I didn't feel like he was trying to come on to me, or maybe he used me just to get his book sold there.
You were next.
But when he met Lori, it was a totally different energy than when I met him. So that's just letting you know. Of course, I never had any type of interest in him at all, because you can tell why. So he's not somebody I'd be attracted to. But plus, I was married too.
Let's talk a little bit about the night that you were at the apartment in Rexburg. I did believe that you came on this.
Yeah.
If I recall right, you guys were doing a cast, and Alex had already taken a podcast.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
and Alex had taken JJ onto his place a little bit. We know that Jay didn't brought JJ back.
Yeah.
And because I don't have any paperwork right in front of me, he went upstairs with JJ. Is that correct? That's what I remember.
Did you remember, you mean like when we were doing the podcast and then he came in the door with him sleeping? Yeah, I kind of put that way.
So he goes upstairs. And do you know where he went when he went upstairs?
Because he went to Lori's room because he wasn't in David's or I's room, my room. Those rooms are empty, so he hadn't been in there.
And then you didn't see him again that night.
JJ.
Hey, Alex.
And he left. No.
And Jay left. JJ still up there.
And I never saw JJ either.
Right, but Alex left. You watched him leave.
Yeah. Well, we heard the door open and close, and we probably said like good night or something. I mean, maybe. We're podcasting. Who knows?
Do you
I
recall seeing him walk out with JJ?
Not walk out. No, just walk in.
Okay.
Just walk in.
That's
And when he left the first time, we didn't see him take him. We just know he had him because she said he didn't take him.
Right.
I don't recall that. I just remember he wasn't there.
But the time he left, so he brings JJ in, and then he leaves again. He did not take JJ out of the room or out of the apartment. Okay. So you get done with your podcast, everybody goes their separate way, and everybody goes to the bedroom. And
Podcast.
David, I recall David having his dream. He woke up.
Yeah, funky.
Did he come and get you and tell you?
No, I was actually laying beside him when it happened.
In which room?
In JJ's official room.
Okay. So he woke up and you were at the side of him.
Yeah.
And tell me about what happened from there.
His heart was beating. He was distressed. He said, I just had this really bad dream. And then he kind of sat up and he just was, I said, well, tell me about it. And he's like, it was just so dark. He's like, I saw an earthquake and I saw people hurting and I wanted to help them and I couldn't, and something like that. That's what it feels like, remember. It was like his heart was hurting. Like his whole body was under distress. When he has dreams, they're like lifetime dreams. You know, some people dream vividly. I do not dream like that. He has incredible dreams where he feels everything in his dream. So it affects him at a totally different level.
Okay.
So that's what happened. So then I think, oh my gosh, maybe some evil spirit, because you know they were always talking about it. So I text Lori and I text Chad. I'm like, I don't remember what I said. Probably, are you awake or?
You don't believe nothing.
Something wrong, Chad. David, I don't remember what I said. I just remember trying to get to them. So I said, I'm going to go get Lori, see if she can help out. The door was locked. And so I was like, I don't know. She's not, I don't know if I should try to wake her up or I just decided to come back and see David.
So you tried the door handle. It was locked.
It was locked.
Did you knock on it?
Maybe. I probably did, but there was no answer. I don't remember if I probably did, but and I did actually. I think I tried calling her too and texting her, and I think Chad. I think I tried calling him. I thought maybe he could help out. Neither one of them responded to me, as you probably could tell in the text. You probably saw that. Nobody responded to me, so I just went back to bed. And then we woke up next morning, and she was happy, chappy.
How was Dave?
He was better. He felt better. He was like, that's a bad dream. Then we would tell them like, hey, you had a bad dream last night. She's like, oh, that was Julie Rowe. He attacked her. Once again, throw Julie into it. From a distance.
Chad said Julie Rowe attacked David?
Well, Lori probably said it, but you know, she always went through him. So when I say it's kind of they're both. They who knows? They both. And then I don't even know what I believe anymore. What she says that he says, because she's such a liar now. At this point, I'm like, I don't know anymore who said what. But between the two of them, they came up with it. They always throw her in the
That was
bus,
your best friend.
It's because we went because right before that earlier that day we went to that lot where you know that land was going to be for sale, and so we were talking to a friend of Julie Rose. His name was Keith Levitt. And Keith Levitt was there with his wife Suzanne, and then the realtor was there, and Alex was there, but Lori wasn't there. David thought she was there. I said no, she went home after that. He goes, I forgot that. Anyway, and so anyway. Because we saw her, we thought, oh, she's going to tell Julie Rowe. I mean, Keith is going to tell Julie Rowe that we were there because he saw us, because they're really tight. Keith and Julie are super tight. So that's why they threw that, Julie Rowe attacked him that night.
Do you remember by chance what Lori was wearing in the morning when you guys got up?
She was typical wearing spandex pants and spandex shirt. I don't recall, but that's usually what she had on.
Was it the same clothes that she had on the night before?
Oh gosh, I do not remember.
I know that's kind of a tough one.
I don't remember details to stuff like that. It's not one of those things I pull unless it stands out for a reason. I wish I could tell you. That'd be good to know, but I don't know. She usually had new clothes on every day. If I can remember, it seemed like she had fresh clothes on every day. She was kind of into her clothes, so.
All right.
That night on the 22nd, try to remember as best you can, okay? So, it's a Sunday, right? Do you guys go to dinner, or do you guys make dinner on Sunday night?
Well, we would make it because we don't go to eat on dinner, so we would make it
Okay,
at home.
so everybody's at home. Does Lori leave anywhere with JJ?
I don't have any memory of her leaving.
So you sent a text, correction, Lori sent a text to you around 8:30 that evening saying that something to the effect of, hey, I'll be there shortly, JJ woke up, she's getting him back to bed. Do you know where she was at or where you were at when she sent that text?
Gosh. Man, that doesn't even sound familiar. Maybe at Alex's house. I think that's the
She knows.
only place that she could
Do you
be.
have that conversation with her on your phone right now?
I think I deleted everything. Those us freaked out.
So, and I can get that. And I can get
So
that.
say it again. So who's speaking? Say it
So
again.
Lori
She texts me and says,
says something to the effect of, I'll be there shortly. JJ woke up and I'm trying to get him back to sleep.
and that was at night.
He was there at 8:30
Well, okay, because we didn't do a podcast yet. We started podcasts like late, because I've been thinking, man, I can't stay up so I'm early, like, come on. We started late, she's an early bird too. So it must have been, my guess is that it must have been Alex's house getting him to sleep over there, I'm guessing. So I'm just gonna make some guesses, that's that, because she would never have gone to Chad's house because Tammy was there, right? So where else in the world would she go? I
Right,
have no
but
idea.
And that's why I'm asking if you remember being alone in her apartment with her not there? Because if she's at Alex's, you're alone in her apartment.
I could have been upstairs or something. Maybe I was talking to David, who knows?
So, and that's why I'm asking if you remember her leaving and JJ not being there around that time.
Probably, because that's when he was no longer there when we did the podcast. And so somehow, I think I was upstairs, that's what I feel. I just don't remember that detail, because I had any reason not to remember that, I didn't know anything was going on, so I didn't associate.
She remember what she wanted to
I was
remember.
going to do a podcast, and that's it. And I didn't prepare for it, because I never prepared for the podcast, I just, so.
And that night when David was having his dream and you sent the text to the chat, and understand, I'm not casting any judgment here.
Yeah, that's okay.
But were you and David sleeping in the same room? Or
That
did you hear-
that night we were. I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so you, in which room, if you're walking down the hall, which room were you in, the right or the left?
It depends on which way you're walking down the hall. So if you're walking away from Lori's door,
Away from Lori's door, towards the room.
towards the room. So he was assigned that room, and then the first night, David wasn't there for a few nights, so I was in Tyler's room. So that was the room that I stayed in, and then he stayed. So yeah, left room, and it had the mattress on the floor.
Okay, so that night you guys were in the left bedroom.
Yes.
And the nights prior to that, you were in the right bedroom.
Yeah, I was a couple. I don't know how many nights. I know at least I was like 1 or 2 nights in Tyler's room. I know that. I don't remember when he came there. Was it Friday or Saturday night he got there? Anyway.
It'd been the first night that he got there.
Which night was that? Do you remember?
I don't, but you guys shared the same room the first night he showed up at the apartment.
Probably.
Because he was,
I was there like a day or two before he was. Because didn't I get on a Wednesday? I think a Wednesday and Thursday. So I would have been in the room Wednesday and Thursday in Tyler's room. And then I think he was there 2 nights. I think. So I think I was there for a total of 4 days. And then we left on the Monday. Saturday, Sunday. That was 5 days. Sorry, they blur. So anyway, I don't remember other than like something, I don't know what I said on the text. Probably something like something's wrong with David. He had a dream, something. I don't know what I said, but something to the fact that something's wrong with him. I just thought, man, maybe somebody evil spirit. That's all I could think of. That's all I could think of. Because I was like, why is he traumatized in this dream? It's pretty intense. Anyway, it's bad.
And so after you went and knocked on Lori's door,
I don't know if I know I did this.
tried the handle.
My guess is I probably knocked, but I just decided to come back. I was like, well, she's probably sleeping, so I'll just leave her alone.
And then you
I
guys,
hate waking people up. It's not my favorite.
so what was your intent in going in there?
To see if she could come help with a blessing. Like if she had some, it's like, hey, David's wrong. Can you, do a blessing? Help with that, because that's what she was into. So that was my intent. Because I thought maybe she would know what's going on, because she seemed to have all these, experiences with the other side of the veil and Jesus all the time. Like I thought, well, maybe they can help out.
So, again, we're asking these questions because, it may be something that the defense wants to hit on.
Sure.
I mean, you never know what
Right.
they're going to want to talk to.
Well, and I could see that angle, just like, well, why were you contacting them in the middle of the night? Well, he has this weird experience. I don't know what else to say.
And so when we talk about this stuff, it's for that purpose, right?
Yeah.
So that morning, when David talked to Lori, did he express any concerns to you about JJ's whereabouts?
Did he express any concerns to
David.
me? I don't recall him expressing concerns.
On the drive home, did you guys talk or text Lori or chat?
No, I mean, what would we have to say about JJ? Just, I know that he questioned her, like, where is JJ? Let me see if he has a zombie in him. And he didn't believe it. I mean, I don't remember.
was he saying that kind of mock?
Um,
Or was he really?
no, I think he was genuine. Yeah, he's not a mocker. He's pretty genuine about these kind of things. I just don't remember that full conversation.
And that's why I asked, because if he was concerned, right?
Oh,
As a-
right, like
as
he
a-
was,
you know,
yeah.
It would be, I would think that maybe you guys would maybe discuss that, if you could remember discussion on the way home, because it was kind of a long drive, right? And then during that drive, there was 3 or 4 phone calls that you made to Lori
Okay.
during that drive, and do you remember what that conversation was?
Jogging my memory. Holy cow.
I know it's a lot to remember.
Well, you could have asked this like a long time ago. That would help. Just,
Well,
and I don't even know if I would have remembered, because it wasn't significant enough for me to remember. There's certain things I remember, and some things I'm like, don't remember that. It's possible we could have talked about it. I mean, it's highly possible. And do I remember it right? I don't remember the words.
Oh, do you remember how she was? Her tone, her demeanor on the phone with you? Was she?
I don't even remember the conversation. That's the hard part. I don't remember talking to her.
You guys, is it normal for you to call 3 or 4 times a day?
That's not unusual. That's not unusual. There were periods of time where she talked to me more, and then she'd move, and she'd be maybe focused on Melanie. So if she was focused on somebody else, she wouldn't. But I was with David, so I didn't have as much when I was with David. So I went through gaps here and there where I didn't. In the beginning, yeah. And then when she moved and stuff, it started getting a lot less. conversation. Sorry. I'm sure she probably talked about those things. That's all that seemed to be on her mind all the time. You know. I mean, yeah, if they bring them up, you know, they're gonna. If they ask me in court, happy to talk about it, but I don't remember them.
Prior to those podcasts, had Chet been over there?
Yeah.
You know what time he left? We probably talked about it, but
So it was, I think we figured out, if all my remembering, it seemed like he was there on Sunday, right? And then he was there, but even before Chet. Yes, he was there when I got there that day or the next day. So I remember they were doing the Daybell music thing they had going on, so he was there then. And then we walked around the track. Thursday, I don't remember. And he was there, I don't think it was Sunday. I know, okay, yes, it was, because David and him saw each other, of course.
okay.
Yeah, so he definitely was there on Sunday, or we interacted with him on Sunday. Was he at the house on Sunday? It was, anyway, he was at one point, I remember he was in the kitchen at one point, and I remember David was there, so I just remember they were both in the house at the same time. Do I remember exactly when it was? No. But he always seemed like to go home because of his wife, so he didn't want to upset her, I heard that, and something like that. So he probably didn't stay too late. And he was not there when we did the podcast, he was gone already. I bet you got a lot more information because of the text. You guys know a little bit more about their whereabouts. They were always touching each other. But who knows? You know what I mean.
So,
I know you're trying to help.
So the night of the 22nd.
To pin them on. I know. I
So-
wish I could just remember more.
so the 22nd would have been a Sunday.
22nd Sunday.
Good. And that's the night of the podcast. And that's the night that David got there.
No, he got there. I think the day before.
Saturday. Okay,
It
so
was either Friday night or Saturday night.
do you recall chatting at the house on the 22nd? That's Sunday. That was tough.
I'm gonna say there's a high chance he was. Right this moment, I have to put pieces together to figure it out. The days blend to me. When you're there 5 days and you're trying to figure out which day, that's hard for me.
The morning of the 23rd, when Lori's up and about it, yes, when you guys get ready to go, does she say anything about Chad?
I don't know. I didn't see him there. I don't remember seeing him there. I don't remember.
Did she talk to him that morning? Right?
David remembers his part best because he had conversations with her. And he remembered it because we were leaving and, you know, he talked about it. Now, I remember that whole conversation to whatever I was listening. I know he was over here and I felt like I was in the living room or some reason. But I couldn't remember. I was like, you know, I was kind of totally, I said, it was a Sunday. What day did she say that? And so he did remember that it was that day, which I'm grateful that he remembered it was that day.
Sure.
But yeah, I remember her telling me about how, and I remember she was doing my hair. I think it was that morning. Yeah, it was Sunday. So it really helps if I can start remembering things associated with it.
With Sunday?
You know, she did my hair, she cut my hair in the bathroom downstairs. And she colored it. She came upstairs, but it was enough room, so went downstairs. So we were in her bedroom.
She cut your hair downstairs
Yeah, I think.
or upstairs?
No, downstairs. And then it seemed like we started off in her bedroom, doing my hair. And then she's like, let's just go downstairs. It's easier down there. I don't know why. I can't remember the reason. She just thought it was easy. Now, she had all her stuff up there. So
Upstairs?
Yeah, I mean, that was all her. Well, because there was hardly anything downstairs in that bathroom. There wasn't a lot down there. It was pretty empty. I remember. There was probably a few things in there, but not much. So it was small. So anyway, I was sitting there and I remember looking in the mirror and I remember David was back there in the kitchen. I don't know. I mean, he was somewhere in the house, obviously. And then I remember her doing my hair here. And her cutting it. David didn't like my hair short. So anyway, it's a long story. But anyway, she's trying to trim it up. And I remember it was like off a little bit. And it was pizza boxes or something. And JJ was trying to cut them something. I'm trying to remember what she would make for breakfast. And She wasn't a cooker. She wasn't much of a cooker. We had something.
Melanie, let me ask you this. With multiple probations,
Yeah.
were you 100% believer in that?
Probably sounded like I was, but there was always that question mark. Everything's a question mark for sure, but did I sound like I believed in it? Yeah, I tried to. I tried believing in it. At times she'd tell me stuff like, and then sometimes I was like, I don't like this because I'm not, you know,
Well,
I had to live everything's lives.
what was your spiritual name that she would use for you?
BB.
Phoebe.
I don't remember shit. Man, it's the memories.
And then how were you related to her? How were you related to her?
So,
It seems like she's protecting Lori. I'm sorry, y'all. Her best friend is protecting her. She knows she remember the name that Lori calls her. Cause that's her best friend. I remember my best friend. We've been best friends from from years, centuries. And I remember names she called me. Come on now, come on, Melody Gill. Be honest.
he was Joseph Smith, but I forgot his name now, but one of his descendants, right? One of his great-great-great-great-grandfathers, so he was his great Joseph Smith. Anyway, her name was Mary Smith, and he was whoever the other Smith man was.
Hold on, y'all. I need to hear something. Hold on. I need to hear something.
I think it was that morning. That was Sunday. So it really helps if I can start remembering things associated with it.
With Sunday?
Yeah, she did my hair. She cut my hair in the bathroom downstairs. And she colored it. She couldn't do upstairs, but it was enough room, so went downstairs. So we were in her bedroom.
She
We were
cut
in her
your hair
bedroom.
downstairs
Yeah, I think.
or upstairs?
No, downstairs. And then it seemed like we started off in her bedroom doing my hair. And then she's like, let's just go downstairs. It's easier down there. I don't know why. I can't remember the reason. She just thought it was easy. Now, she had all her stuff up there. So,
Upstairs?
yeah, I mean, that was all her. Well, because there was hardly anything downstairs in that bathroom. There wasn't a lot down there. It was pretty empty. I remember. There was probably a few things in there, but not much. So it was small. So anyway, I was sitting there and I remember looking in the mirror and I remember David was back there in the kitchen. I don't know. I mean, he was somewhere in the house, obviously. And then I remember her doing my hair here. And her cutting it. David didn't like my hair short. So anyway, it's long story. But anyway, she was trying to trim it up. I remember it was like off a little bit. And there was pizza boxes or something. And JJ was trying to cut them something. I'm trying to remember what she would make for breakfast. She wasn't a cooker. She wasn't much of a cooker. We had something.
Melanie, let me ask you this. With multiple probations,
Yeah.
were you 100% believer in that?
Probably sounded like I was, but there was always that question mark. Everything's a question mark for sure, but did I sound like I believed in it? Yeah, I tried to. I tried believing it. At times she'd tell me stuff like, and then sometimes I was like, I don't like this because I'm not. You know,
Well,
I had to live very many lives.
what was your spiritual name that she would use for you?
Phoebe.
Phoebe.
I don't remember shit about her name. Man, it's the memories.
And then how were you related to her? How were you related to Lori?
So she was Joseph Smith, but I forgot his name. One of his descendants, right? One of his great-great-great-great-grandfathers. So he was his great Joseph Smith. Anyway, her name was Mary Smith, and he was whoever the other Smith man was. I forgot his name now. I used to know. And I was the oldest of all our kids, and I was baby. And then the last one was Christina. She would have Christina, I think, at the last or the second to last, something like that. She'll let him.
With the same father?
Yeah, so she only had one husband in that one, according to her. Now, I believe that now, just for the record.
Right.
I'm not believing in this stuff.
So Lori was your mom?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's times you call her mom. And
Yeah. Did I 100% believe in it? Seemed like I very in the 90s at times, you know. But I tried it like, this is really, I mean, there would obviously be like, this is really true. This is so far out here, you know. I definitely questioned all of it. I mean,
Well,
But it sounded like I did, because I referred to it like I did.
and that's the thing we want to address is,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be something the defense hits on, right?
Sure.
Based on all this stuff,
Yeah.
reading the text messages and the conversations,
Yeah.
it looks like you were probably closest to Lori
That's
more
right.
than anybody in that group, even probably more than Sunita.
Yeah.
And so, be prepared. That's probably something that they're going to hit.
All right, y'all. I want to stop it right here for a minute and get my, reaction the overall some stuff that I want to say about what was said in the interview. Now, my opinion is my opinion. Everybody can speak their opinion, but Melanie is Lori's best friend. Okay. You know when you talk to your best friend, you tell your best friend everything. Because you don't want your best friend to secretly put information out there. But I believe Lori and her best friend was in this together. Notice in the interview, she can't remember nothing Lori really says. Lori now, to her, weird and all of this and all of that. But you let a woman that you knew that was spiritual, black, spiritual, do all of that crap, magic work and stuff. Cut your hair. Color your hair. You let a woman who sticks her hand in black magic cut your hair. And the first time she cut it uneven. And then you let her go back and shape it up, right? I don't know. She has to be in court. She got to be on the trial because this is Lori's best friend. And I think she's, to me, allegedly protecting her. Hold on for 1 second. I believe that Lori, I'm gonna change something. Since I looked at the interview, I'm gonna change this title. I'm gonna put Lori Vallo's best friend is keeping a lot of things out of this interview. Okay, so I got Lori Vallo's best friend Melody allegedly is keeping. I'm gonna put allegedly out to protect everything. Allegedly. Withholding. What about? Let's say withholding information. Let's put that withholding information in this interview. Let's put this. I'm gonna put withholding allegedly withholding information. In okay. In this interview. How about that, guys? I changed the reason why I changed the title is because listen to her sit here and talk. That's her best friend. You tell your best friend everything, okay? Me and my best friend, we tell everything about each other. So I changed my title to Lori Vallo's best friend Melanie, allegedly withholding information in this interview. Is holding. I could go back and do it somewhere else. Let me see. Let's put allegedly withholding information. I really do. I believe she withholding information in this interview. I really do. How you gonna let somebody do black magic cut your hair? Come on, y'all. So I have Laura Vallow best friend Melanie allegedly withholding information in this interview. Okay, for number one, this is what I watched on her. Her body language. Her body language told me. Let me come out of this. Let me start sharing my screen. Hold on, y'all. Okay. The body language is important in this interview. Her body language. She was doing a lot of speaking with her hand, and not making eye contact with the investigators until she get to them to where she wants them to agree with her. She make it also. Miss Giltz, the young lady in the interview, tried to make it sound like Lori was trying to manipulate her. Because she's still in the circle. They act like they best friend where she hit her upside the head. They play a lot. But Lori is serious at the time. Lori does spiritual worshiping. They supposed to be a cult, but she's doing spiritual work. And if she doing spiritual worshiping, she wants her best friend Melody to stay focused on what she needs to do. So if Lori allegedly involved in murdering Charles, her husband, and now they trying to work on Tammy. Tammy is Chad's wife. Okay, now her husband is going to be next, but it didn't get that far. What happened when it came down to little JJ? That's what stopped a lot. And Tolly, when it came down to them two, that's what changes things get caught up with this whole circus, the whole circle of the Vallows, the Doomsday. You know, this case gonna be they're gonna have to watch themselves, because you have Lori that knows how to work shit. She knows how to work shit. She do that black magic. Lori does. So they're gonna have to pray. Keep that prayer in front of them, because Lori gonna use it on them. See, Lori already know the best friend real good. She thinks that her power Lori thinks that her power is really working, but really, I don't even think she has no power. I think they are just making it look like they got the power to do what they need to do to the people who around that she loves, who she want to be with. So you got to get rid of people. That's what she's doing. And then her circle is going to change, because right now everybody know about her circle. So her brother allegedly was going to be next, and this girl right here, they were going to get rid of her sooner or later. She just got blessed. Y'all tell me what y'all think, because I've been following this Doomsday cult, this circus right here. And circle, I'm sorry, I said circus. I was jacked. That wouldn't feel like I'm in a circus. But anyway, y'all tell me what you think and put it in the comment section. I know a lot of y'all enjoying y'all Easter. I'm in the bed. That's a shame. Y'all go ahead on. I wish somebody bring me a dinner, a Easter dinner. Might go downstairs and borrow my own eggs. If I ain't gonna cut them though, but I'm gonna make an egg sandwich. All right, y'all go ahead on and enjoy the rest of your day. This is your girl, The Real Deal, Anita Skills Reaction. Shout out to all my real deals. Enjoy yourself. Save me an egg. I'm out.